This is the Unleash Your Life podcast, where you're going to learn what your power leaks are and, more importantly, how to plug them. I'm your host, Lane Smith Brown. I'm a best-selling author and the founder and coach over at lanesmithbrown.com. And over the last 20 years, I've been guiding people back to their truest selves. You see, most of us are caught in our stories, so we stay trapped. I call those stories power leaks. And when we understand how those power leaks are playing out in our life, we can make a choice to step back into our power. If you're interested in learning more, you can pop over to lanesmithbrown.com. But for now, kick back with a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, or a bag of Doritos, and let's talk about getting what's in the way out of the way through the lens of simple, practical, and easy to understand tools and insights that will make a powerful impact on your life starting today. I trust you'll stick around because I'd certainly love the company. Hello, all you beautiful beings, and welcome to the show. I'm Lane Smith Brown, and this is episode number 19 of the Unleash Your Life podcast. And today we're going to have a conversation about this concept of the power contained within the what is. Now, it can be frustrating to hear that when you're in the middle of a storm, but that doesn't make it any less true. Let's dig into some really simple approaches to those three powerful words, the what is, and create a game plan of sorts to help you navigate this type of living. Now, here's my reminder before we continue that if this is your first show, first off, welcome. I love that you're here. And secondly, keep in mind that it could be beneficial to start at the beginning. But know that I will do my level best to make each episode stand on its own. So on that note, let's get on with the show. I grew up with parents who thought that their job was to stay on some magical, mystical path that God had created for them. The path was a secret. You never really knew if you were on it or not. The state of unknowing was not fun to watch. And I absorbed all of that growing up. Sometimes my dad would say he was on it when things went badly. His reasoning was that God was teaching him some great lesson that he needed to learn. Then he'd go to the other side and say he was on the path when things were going right. So I picked up that God seemed to be pretty fickle and hard to please. Really, things can go good or bad, and either of them can be either I'm on the right path or not on the right path. That doesn't sound right to me at all. How about you? That belief plus the whole sin thing had me rather messed up for a lot of years. It all seemed built on the premise that I couldn't trust myself, that I was innately bad and I couldn't trust God as the rules seemed whimsical and obscure. Through all of my exploration over the last 3 decades, I've come to believe we're all cosmic beings. We are pure, unadulterated energy, nothing but endless possibilities. And we are an intrinsic and inseparable part of the universe. And we chose to have a human experience. If that's new to you, maybe you've heard of Albert Einstein. He has this rather famous theory that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. That's me. That's you. That's us. That's everything. God, Goddess, the universe, the divine, the collective consciousness, love, whatever you like. It's all energy, all connected, all forever continuing in one form or another. It never dies. It only transmutes into other forms. So what is it that happens to us that disconnects us from the truth and has us thinking that the current circumstances of our life can be right or wrong, good or bad, on the path or off the path? Conditioning. You know, all that stuff handed down to us that was meant to control us. It had us looking to others for our sense of self and worthiness and direction. Am I a good girl? What makes me a good girl? Being a nurturer makes me a good girl. Having my own opinions and saying them out loud makes me a bad girl? Having a dream for my life makes me good or bad? Putting others first makes me a good girl, right? Following my own passions makes me a bad girl? Not wanting to be married, bad. Not wanting kids, bad. Not wanting to settle down, bad. Being free-spirited and full of passion, bad, bad. Being a powerful sexual autonomous being, bad? Oh, and terrifying. So this concept of bad and good has really messed us up. And so we often look at what is and wonder if we've done something wrong to be in this position. But we also know that everything is simply energy. So every what is can be transformed into something new. But how? Well, through non-resistance. You see, the trouble is always in the judgment and the resistance. Did you grow up hearing that you only have one life? I did. Excuse me, just had to go off base there and cough for a little bit, but I'm going to go back to that for a second. Did you grow up hearing that you only have one life? Something I learned. It was a lot of pressure to get things right, especially since what lay in the balance was either heaven or hell. And that feels like a nasty game of chicken to me, where you never know for sure where you stood. Maybe you'll win, maybe you'll lose. Look, there is no perfect path. There is no displeasing God by whatever name you chose to call her. There is only infinite love and grace. The fact that we are pure energy, full of possibilities, never ending, always transmuting, gives us a tremendous amount of hope, don't you think? We're here to experience with this human version of ourselves. We're here to taste and smell and touch and feel and experience our lives. Every inkling and desire from love is for us to experience. No wrong step, just growth. Look, I know at a soul level, each of us has chosen our experiences. Oh, we can resist that or accept that. That is entirely our choice. But I've honestly never seen the upside of resisting what is. When our response is acceptance, the what is changes. It moves on to the next iteration of itself. It's as if some cosmic force is saying, come this way, come this way. As if the what is some sort of cookie crumb pathway back to the heart of who you are and the gifts you've come to bring. Can you look back on your life and see the truth of that? Something you thought was scary or unbearable at the time, and it turns out that resisting it made it all the worse? Have you ever had it turn out well or even better than expected? I bet you have. Feel what you're going through, whether you've judged it as good or bad. Feel it and accept it, and understand that in so doing, it will move on. Mother Teresa is credited for saying, what you fight weakens you. I think she's on to something. You are more powerful than you choose to believe sometimes. You think it's all too much. But when you let it go, it suddenly becomes something that you can go through and you can learn to grow and change. For me, this idea of letting go is me understanding that I am connected to something far greater than the little human me walking the earth. In the moment of letting go, I personally am declaring that I am beyond the capabilities of this human self, and I fall back into the all that is, the collective subconscious mind that knows all things. Now, if you think I've gone all airy-fairy on you right here, consider this. We're currently hurling through space at breakneck speeds. There is a light source that, if moved even the tiniest bit in any direction, could either burn us up or freeze us out. And yet we go about our business not really thinking about it at all. We just trust. For most of us, we breathe without recognizing the miracle of it. Our heart beats without us giving it a second thought. Our blood circulates throughout our body, and there are systems in place to clean it and protect it from intruders. We consume food and drink, and not only can we enjoy it, but we can assimilate it into our body and eliminate what is no longer required. There's just a little taste of what most of us completely take for granted while going about our day. But it truly is awesome in the truest sense of the word. So if all of that is going on without us having to concern ourselves in any meaningful way, why do we get so attached to our lives and what should and shouldn't be happening to us? It's a good question, no? Whatever it is, let it go. My partner Callie had a teacher named Catherine Lucier many, many years ago now. And she had a line that we use often, especially when we're feeling that we're being impatient or if something feels like it's not going our way. And it saved us a crazy amount of frustration over the years. And I'm hoping that it will do the same for you. Here it is. Do your work lovingly. Pay attention to the details. Let go of your attachment to the outcome. That's it. Do your work lovingly. Pay attention to the details. And let go of your attachment to the outcome. Perhaps you're concerned with something at work, like a project that needs to be completed, or maybe it's about a personal relationship and how you expect the other person to respond. Perhaps your kids aren't following the path you wished for them, or maybe you're being impatient about your own personal growth. Are there expectations and outcomes that come to mind for you? Our attachment to expected outcomes can really trip us up. Often outcomes are contingent on another's behavior, and short of forcing someone's hand, a person's behavior is still the sole responsibility of them, not you. Oh, we convince ourselves for a while that we are the ones in control of them, but sooner or later the truth comes out. We can only control ourselves and what we do, but not the reaction of others. So what are we left with? Doing our work lovingly, paying attention to the details. These are the two places where we have all of the control. Now, how do you do your work lovingly? Well, it could be as simple as this. Let's say you build a birdhouse and you think about the birds that will enjoy their new home. Or when you're out and you get a chance to smell the flowers, and you take the time to appreciate their beauty and fragrance, and the bees and the bugs who are going to enjoy them too. When you drive the kids to school, well, you catch up on on their lives, and they on yours perhaps. Or you just get lost in the satisfaction that these little beings decided to join you on your journey, and they are filled with gifts for you. It could be something like you're running a corporation and you understand the intention of your company and hold fast to those values. When you chair a committee, you realize everyone at the table has something to offer. There's love in all of that. We do our work lovingly by being present each and every moment and in having all of our energy there. That's the work. And we don't have to master it right now, but practicing is what gets us there. So practice. When you do your work lovingly, you're in tune with who you are at a deeper level. Not just with your physical shell, but with your conscious connection to the divine intuition. When you do your work lovingly, you are connecting to your natural abilities, and it is then that you ignite the passion in yourself. Love doesn't necessarily arrive like a lightning bolt or a big burst of cosmic power. It often appears as a feeling of peace. And when it arrives, you just know that everything is going to work itself out. Now you've got loving things down. How do you pay attention to your details? Are you inclined to make lists and check them off as completed? Do you establish more of a general overview and keep tabs on things as time unfolds? Perhaps you operate more on a gut instinct and respond to what's ever in front of you. No matter how you personally approach the details, it's about being present again in the moment and paying attention to what you need to pay attention to. The inevitability of noticing the details or being in the moment is once again a feeling of peacefulness and an understanding that you've done your part and that you've done your part well. If you've brought all your love, natural abilities and gifts to the matter, then you've done enough. You've done all you can do. This is really a study in understanding the essence of what you want. Perhaps you want a project to go well, a relationship to go better, your kids to launch or land well, or simply to experience joy in your life. Letting go of the how is one of the most life-transforming gifts you can give to yourself and to the people around you. Are there places in your life where you need things to be a certain way, in a certain order, in order to be happy? Do you need a person to behave in a specific way to be content? Do you expect yourself to act a certain way in order to believe in your own personal value? If something comes to mind, are you interested in approaching this in a new way? Are you willing to bring your love and ability to it and then let the chips fall where they may? Do what you can, do your work lovingly, and pay attention to the details. Let go of your attachment to the outcome. Are there places in your life where you're trying to change an outcome? If so, can you allow yourself the perspective of this will work out exactly as it needs to? This simple act of letting go is the first step to changing your behavior and moving yourself to a state of trust and peacefulness. This is where all your power is. You, my dear, are enough. You are on the path, and the path will continue to unfold. Each step of the way, you will get more and more in touch with who you are and what you've come to offer. Embrace the discomfort as part of the growing pains. Let it go and see where it takes you. You're in the right place at the right time, and everything is working out in your favor, whether you choose to believe it or not. If you've been trying to control things until now, know that your ego is going to go ballistic as you try doing something different because it wants to keep you in old familiar feelings. Now, remember our comeback line from previous episodes when you feel yourself going back to the control freak stance or back to old behavior? It's this: I used to believe that, but I no longer do. I used to believe that, but I no longer do. Just repeat it over and over and over again until it brings a bit of peace and calm to you. It works for me every time. It's going to work for you. And here's another one. When things seem difficult, choose to get quiet. Put your hand over your heart and just quietly say over and over again, what am I not seeing that would be helpful to see right now? What am I not seeing that would be helpful to see right now? Look, we all have blind spots. And inviting the collective consciousness or the subconscious or the great mystery, whatever it is you like, to show us what that might be, can also move us into a clearer connection with the truth of who we are and what we've come to offer. Wow, that was a big show. But I trust it's got your juices going. How much more of a reason do you need to accept what is? It's all leading back to you. It's leading back to the capital Y-O-U-U with a big fat exclamation point at the end. You're a beautiful being of light. And I am so thankful you spent this time with me today. I love that you're curious about this work. So meet me back here for another conversation next week, okay? Now, before you go, be sure to take a look at our new WeirdHummingbirds.com website. It's now jam-packed with all kinds of free and powerful resources to help you on this journey, plus some great ways for you to go deeper on this journey as well, if that's to your liking. So on that note, bye for now. The show notes are filled with all kinds of information, so scroll down if you're up for it. And like I said, check out the website for some resources that might prove helpful to you on your journey. Ta for now. See you next week. Well, I hope this show rocked your world a little bit. If you're ready to take this learning to a whole new level, pop over to lanesmithbrown.com and sign up for our weekly Wild Wonderings email and check out the coaching options as well. Oh, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this podcast, will you? It's how we get these tools into the world and change the world for the better. Ta for now.